back. Today I'm going to talk about the films I caught over a Christmas period that are not worth a full video on. I just thought I'd talk about them in this video because there was like 5 of them. So you've got Aquaman, you've got Rebel Moon, you've got the let's see what I've got here. I've got the list. Lost Bullet 1 and 2 and the Beekeeper. So these are all films I saw over the last month and a half while I wasn't here making videos. But again, all of these films would not have got a full video on their own anyway. They would have been part of something anyway, because I don't think there's enough in them to really talk about them in detail. So I'll start with Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon is the part 1 of 2-part Zack Snyder epic on Netflix. It is basically Battle Beyond the Stars, which was basically the Magnificent Seven, which was basically Seven Samurai. It's that thing, and the first half of the story here is very influenced by Star Wars and all these epic space operas of like epic empires and things you've seen a million times before, but done on a mega budget and without much humour, because Zack Snyder is not really a funny director. And it's full of, characters who are a bit cliched and, kind of pomposity. But I enjoyed it despite all of that. I mean, I'm a sucker for this kind of story, really. I mean, I kind of bring together all these expert warriors to fight against an implacable foe. I'm a sucker for that kind of story. Like, if it's done halfway decent, I'll happily watch it. So, here we go. I enjoyed what I saw, even though it had, like, some major flaws. I mean, it really is. People point out there's nothing new in this, and some of the things that happen in it are almost the detriment of its own logic. But it doesn't really matter, because it's basically a simple story about getting these people together. The issue really is they needed to bring another writer on board who could do the characters in more detail and bring more life to the characters, because the characters tend to have the one scene where you show off their skill and then they stand in the background for the rest of the film. Because this is the first half is essentially them come together to fight the monster. So they get the scene where they're introduced and you find out what they are. And these are all long, like 15-minute scenes. And then they stand in the background when you actually get the next person and the next person. So you get a lot of actors who could have been saying smart-ass comments and interesting things throughout the film who are not. So you really miss the kind of expertise of a Seven Samurai or even the John Sayles scripted Battle Beyond the Stars, where you could have lots of funny comments in between the getting together the team. And it really relies on actors actually having personality, and some work better than others. I mean, the most fun actor is Charlie Hunnam, because he's just hamming it up, basically. He's like, yeah, I have a completely shallow character. I'm only doing this because it's a bit of fun. And he has fun with it. He's underused and badly used by the time we get to the end. But it was like, one of the funnest things was, he was fun because he understood the ridiculous film he was in. And he was enjoying it, and it was like, you wish other people had the same sense of fun. But he's done those kind of films before, so he understands that kind of thing. Other actors take it way more seriously, and it's less enjoyable with them. But it's still enjoyable, because if you like this kind of film, that's the thing, is if you like this kind of storyline, if you like the space opera, mega budget, like it's a film with every image is sort of like a image taken from 30s pulp sci-fi. If you like that kind of stuff, you'll enjoy this. If you don't mind the kind of pomposity of Zack Snyder stuff, because it works sometimes, and it works like in the Justice League, his Justice League cut, and it has worked in 300. There's other times where it's sucker punch where it really doesn't work. This one's kind of in the middle, but I had enough goodwill with it because I liked the source material was stripping off, basically. So it's a lot of fun. It's ultimate, all style, no substance, but it's enjoyable enough. It's just that they need to give the lead character more to do, like more details, more character. She has It's an actress who I've seen being good in other stuff. Actually, just not given enough to do. And the lead actor with her is a guy I've seen being good in other films as well, good in TV shows. And it's like one of those things where I know these people have talent, but they're not being allowed to show it so much because of the writing. And the actors who come across better are the ones who just go, fuck it, I'm just going to ham it up slightly. And they tend to have more fun with it. But still, it's like, if you know what you're looking for, you're going to have some fun. As if you want to treat it like it's going to be the next series, like Star Wars. It's not that. But if you know you're going to watch a big, pulpy, overblown, messy production by a director who's been given way too much money, this is what it is. And it's fun for what it is. But it's not for everybody. Okay, now with Aquaman, which is kind of the same thing, where it's a big, overblown mess for a director who's given too much money. But I like this one even more. This one is messy as hell. You can tell they've reshot quite a lot of it. You can tell that there's been reshoot after reshoot. It's got that feeling to it. But it's also got like a hang-dog charm. I actually like this better than the first one. The first one I thought suffered a lot from the lack of chemistry between Jason Momoa and Amber Heard. This one, she's not in it very much, and he's with his brother, played by Patrick Wilson, who have a lot more chemistry and have more fun together. I mean, it's not that they have the most amazing dialogue together, but they have actors who can play off each other. And they're having this story of these two guys having to bond after being enemies, and they're having to save the world from this ancient monster who's possessed Black Manta. And it's full of ridiculous things, ridiculous old stories of Atlantis, this chemical that can destroy the world, and an environmental message. Its villains are all done up like the Planet of the Vampire astronauts, which I love. Planet of the Vampire, so that made me love this film even before anything else happened. It's like, I can't truly hate this film for that because of how they've dressed their villains. You know, and it just has. It's like the director tried to put as many pulp covers that he likes on screen in one film. And he does this even more than Zack Snyder did in Rebel Moon, and it's just fun to watch, because it's just like, you'd feel, even though this film is a bit of a disaster, the director's enjoying himself with lots of these imageries, and he's trying. It's a realistic film where the director's trying. It maybe could have done with more cohesive scripting early on. It could have probably pushed to production before it was ready. But there's lots of weird stuff throughout it that's really enjoyable. So I had lots of fun with it. I really enjoyed it, even though if someone says they hate it, I get it. Because the weakest part of the film is the script and the story. The most fun part is everything around that. The actors tend to be having fun, it seems. Or if they're not, they're professional to make it enjoyable for the audience. And it's just silly. And it's like, it's something the DCU kind of needed a bit more of, some more silliness at times. But it does feel like in the last section of it, before it's going to get into this reboot, they went fully into silly. In a way, it's probably too far, but this and The Flash, I think, of the recent DCEU films were probably the most fun ones. Like, just for the director having ambition and trying stuff, and some of it not landing at all. But hey, at least you felt the passion behind the direction in these films, rather than Black Adam, where you just feel like studio notes and more studio notes, you know. So those are the two kind of big blockbustery films I saw. Then we're going to Lost Bullet Part 1 and 2, which you can find on Netflix. These are just wonderfully silly bits of French pulp, obviously influenced by, Mad Max and every chase movie you've ever seen. These are in love with chase movies in a way that American films haven't been for years. These are more car-focused films than Fast and Furious ever have had. And I enjoy Fast and Furious, but these are more exciting because they're practical and they're destroying cars, and you can tell they love this stuff. So Lost Bullet 1 has less money involved, so it's less ambitious in its car scenes, but it has a better story. Lost Bullet 2 has a lesser story but has some amazing action that's so enjoyable because it becomes a chase pretty quickly and it lasts most of the movie. It really is kind of like basically Mad Max the Road Warrior, where Mad Max had some good stuff in it, but it was mainly a story, and Road Warrior became this epic. Now these are not as good as the Mad Max films, but they're damn good. Plus they have practical action scenes, like not just in cars but also in fights. The fight scenes are brutal. Like there's one section in the first film where the guy has escaped from jail, and there's a woman with a ponytail, and the ponytail gets pulled, and it's really interesting to see them do that in a film. So there's lots of enjoyable things going on, and it's just wonderful. The action just becomes more and more inventive as you go on. The villains are enjoyable but flawed. They're flawed people, so they're not like omnipotent villains. The villains who are on the run a lot of the time as well to try and a lot of their actions are caused by them trying to cover their actions, and it gets worse and worse. But there's a determined hero who's going to get revenge no matter what. So there's lots of stuff like that going on. And it's just really enjoyable. But I mean, the second one, if you want action, the second one really delivers. The first one is more about a guy being set up and having to prove his innocence. And it's more of a noirish kind of plot to start with, and it becomes more action as it goes on. And it's very satisfying as a story. The second one is basically find this guy and get him over a border. And that's the story. It's an action movie with lots and lots of fun stuff in it. And it's a cliffhanger because there's going to be a Lost Bullet 3 coming out this year. So the second one's basically part 1 of 2. Well, the first one is much more self-contained as a story. But both of these films are really enjoyable. I highly recommend them. On the biggest screen possible you can see them in. I watch them on a projector because that's how you should see them. As big a screen as you can possibly do. Finally, we have the most ridiculous film, probably of the year, which is The Beekeeper, which is fun because Statham had Meg 2 last year, which was one of the most ridiculous films of last year. But he's damn good at these ridiculous films. The Beekeeper is just so enjoyable. It's hard to describe because it's ridiculous 80s, 90s style action done by people who know they're making a ridiculous film. David Ayer, who directed it and wrote it, is a director who, like Zack Snyder, can be very self-important. And some of his films can be annoyingly self-important. But other films are good. It depends. For me, he's always one of the directors you never quite know how you're going to feel at a film because it can be good, but it can also be a disaster. He's all over the place. And this one, he was brought into a script that he didn't write, and he pretty much said, like, it's a director for hire job, so he tries his best. But when he entered the film, obviously he realised it's so ridiculous, let's just have fun with it. And he had fun with it, and he had seen all these films it was referencing. So even though there's a metaphor, like the Beekeeper is something that a special agent who goes and deals with problems that even the CIA won't solve, and he will be brutal. So Jason Statham plays a guy who was a beekeeper but he was retired and has now become a proper beekeeper. A person who showed him kindness and helped him out is scammed, and she commits suicide because not only was her money stolen, the money of a charity she was dealing with stolen as well because of her actions, even though she was just basically scammed. She commits suicide, Statham goes for revenge, and he finds out the people who behind the scam are linked to the son of the president. So it becomes an escalation of sequences. He goes after next level. And it's all entirely predictable, but the way it's done is ridiculously over the top, but very enjoyable. And Statham knows he's playing a ridiculous character, and he's totally committed. Because Statham's one of those actors, like Scott Adkins, they always commit, no matter how ridiculous the film, they put the effort in. And he puts the effort in, and it becomes a hilarious film. It's just wonderful. It's just so wonderful. But I'm not going to say anything else about it, just go see it. That's my 5 films. Hope you enjoyed them. I'll be back soon with some more videos. Right. Bye for now.